Hey guys. Okay, so today is March 3rd. And so I know I'm just not in like a good surrounding. Usually I have semi background or whatever, and there's some decent lighting, but right now I just don't really care. So I'm just kind of sitting in my bed. Anyway, but I felt like I really needed to make a video. Oh, look, see? That's what I'm saying. I don't even have like a platform or anything. It's just kind of sitting on my lap. My computer's sitting on my lap. Okay. Anyway, we're going to talk about some real stuff today. So I had an acquaintance, and we were happening in a group of mine. I'm just going to try and say it like that. We just happened to be talking about movies, and then it came up about Marvel movies, and said person said how that they just kind of needed to stop making Marvel superhero movies because it's always the same thing over and again. There's a superhero, there's a villain, the villain and the superhero go up against each other. The superhero has superpowers and it defeats the villain, and everybody lives happily ever after. It's the same thing over and over again. There's no difference between any of them, and like there's nothing in between, and there's no point to having any more new movies. And she's like, this person was just like, there's no point in having, like, they don't change. There's no different, there's no difference, and it's nothing new. And I was very hurt by that because I don't think that this person understood the real meaning behind movies that had to do with superheroes or even Marvel movies. I understand that a lot of like that movies do are made to make money. Yes, that is the thing. And yeah, they can be silly. They can be funny. They have funny stuff in times. That happens. All right? All the time. I get that. That's part of the thing. That's part of what Marvel wants. They want to have the fun concept together and everything. But it is so much deeper than just superhero, villain, blah blah blah, things like that. Like, superheroes are supposed to inspire you. They're they're what give you hope. Um I watched a fan made video about like the Spider-Man trilogy, and it had some like overlaying dialogue by Stan Lee, and it was like Stan Lee saying how he was very lucky with Spider-Man's character, because he grew up as just an average everyday kid, and that's how everybody is. And then he had to go through all of these things, and how he felt guilty because he killed the man who didn't even kill his uncle, and how his uncle died. Like, I mean, people go through these things, and that's what these movies are for. That's what these movies show. They connect us to the the stories to our lives, and like they help ground us. And so it's just like it was very despairing to me to hear somebody like rag on those movies, because like when you it's just not like, I mean, so many other movies, not just Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man gives you hope. Like, he's that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man who's there to save you when you need it, even if it's just from like, giving your bike back like to that one person, or help walking you across the street, things like that. But then up to like Captain America. I mean, Steve Rogers wanted to be somebody who helped people. He didn't want to be this superhuman being, great super soldier. That's not what he was there for. He was there to help people. And it's just like that's what he doesn't that yeah, I mean, that's part of the movie. And like all of the movies. That's part of all of the movies. He just that's what he wants. He's just his genuine personality is to be the fighter, but also the person who always does the right thing, and you want to identify with that. And to lose that and to not realize that with movies, for because you think that they're too much just superhero-y and they're just going up against villains and that's all that it's about, that's really sad. And then we've got, I know that if I'm giving so many spoilers away, so don't, I'm sorry if you haven't watched these movies, like, but yeah, spoilers. Like, I mean, if you think about, you know, Endgame, I mean, Tony Stark, they lose someone. They lose Tony, they lose Gamora, they lose Black Widow. Like, they lose all of these people. People are getting lost in their lives, and they have to learn to deal with these feelings. And that brings it back to us and helps us learn how to deal with our feelings and helps us have the strength to deal with those feelings just as well as they do. Shows us that we can be superheroes just like they are, because if they can get through that and they can persevere, then so can we. um I mean, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, like just showing that strength, um for, everything, and for Shuri and everything, and how she reacts to her brother's death, and how she is able to live on with his legacy and everything, and and losing her mother too as well. And that's just bone chilling. I'm getting chills like this. And then when you think about it, it's not it's like it's not just, these people don't always have to have powers. If you think about Daredevil is freaking blind. He does all of his stuff blind. He just beats people to a pulp. Yes, it's kind of sad that he's beating people to a pulp, but that's his MO. And what is he doing? He's protecting Hell's Kitchen. That's his thing. He wants to keep the people of Hell's Kitchen safe, and he does it, and he's a blind man. Okay? What does that do? That gives all those kids out there who are blind, they're saying, I can help people. I have something. There is somebody out there. There is a character that I can identify with. How can you tell me that a movie or a book, a graphic novel, cannot give you have some sort of uh something that's like good or identifying with that? Like, you cannot tell me that you should stop making those types of movies because it's the same thing over and over again. It's not. It's not. And then you get the Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch, it's like, it's she's I love her. And part of the reason why I love her is because of how much she has gone through, but also how much she has persevered, because she's lost her brother. She's lost Vision, the love of her life. And then after going and creating an entire town, she creates her two children. And then she, I almost firmly believe, the only person who can control Wanda is Wanda herself. Like, nobody else can tell Wanda to stop. And you see that in WandaVision. Wanda only stops when she's like, okay, I have to let these people go. She's like, it breaks me. It will break me, but it's not fair to everyone else around me. So I'm going to break my heart for like the seventh time to let these other people have their lives again. And so she gives up her family. Now then she goes and she gets a hold of the Darkhold, and I don't know what it's called, the dark whatever. Um that turns into a whole thing. But the only reason she does that is because she just wants to be with her children again. She wants to go to a universe where she can be with her children. She just is feeling these agonizing pains of loss, And everybody can feel that. Everybody has that in some sense of way. And it's just, she feels that. And it's just like, she just wants to, despite how much she seems like the villain in Doctor Strange, in the Multiverse of Madness, she's also so much of just like, she's just in so much pain. That's what's the problem. And I think that we just don't recognize that. And then in the end, you realize that Wanda was really the only person who was able to stop it. Doctor Strange definitely helped. He helped her get to a point where like it was like, okay, what's going on and everything. But then her two kids, when she realized that her two kids were afraid of her, that's when she realized that she had done something wrong. She had done something truly wrong. And then her alternate multiverse version of herself literally came up to her and was like, know that they will be loved. And with that, then Wanda was like, I am dying inside again, but I know that I have to give them up. And so then they let them go. She let them go. She let America go. And she decided to destroy the entire temple that is literally um like for her, along with the Darkhold, along with possibly her inside of it. We're not really sure. I'm hoping not, because there was no body seen, but I'm just saying she did all of that because she just couldn't, because she was just trying to be like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like there's so much emotion there. How can you tell me that these movies are the same over and over again if these movies express different emotions? Like they're not telling you the same thing. They weave interwoven different things. If you the latest Thor movie, I mean, Jane had cancer. She had cancer. But what happened? The 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 hammer called to her and said, "You know what? You are the mighty Thor. You are going to be the most boss ass bitch. God is a woman right now. You are going to be here." And so what did she do? She became the best, awesome, most best Thor of all time. And she saved Chris Hemsworth, Thor, his life. And the thing is like, that sends out to cancer patients, you can be a superhero. If Jane can be a superhero, you can be a superhero. Believe in yourself. Do that. In the end, we all know what happens, but she does that because she sacrifices herself, because she knows it's what she wants to do, because she doesn't want to be sitting in on the sidelines. She wants to be fighting. She wants to fight. And that's what that movie was for her, about fighting. And that's a message. That's a message that needs to be put out there. And it's like, you think that all of that's not what all of them are about. And every different Marvel movies give different messages. And if somebody's telling me that every Marvel movie is going to give the same message, I'm going to tell you, no, you're wrong. That's not the truth. And it's not even Marvel. I'm sorry, I'm going to go off on this. It's all comic books. You can too. We can talk about DC too if you want me to. I'll get into that. Wonder Woman. When I first I haven't seen Wonder Woman 1984 or 87. I can't remember what it is. Sorry. But I saw the first one. Man, I felt so empowered after that. I was like, God, again, God is a woman right now. I was like, so amazing, so empowered. What the thing that made her the strongest version of herself was love. Love is what empowered her. And that's what we should think about every day. Love. We should love each other. We should love ourselves. We should know that that is one of the strongest and most powerful emotions, and the things that can make us do some of the best and most wise make helps us make the most wisest decisions. And that's what happened in that movie. And they it just was such a good movie for that, and I loved it, and I loved that message that it sent through. And then if you want to think about any Batman movie, I mean, Batman doesn't have superpowers. I mean, he may have some fancy toys, but if you want to see him work, he's gonna he's gonna do stuff, and he's going to do it by using his fists and stuff. But he doesn't kill people. He may be dark, but he doesn't kill people. Use the Dark Knight trilogy as an example. Great, obviously. He doesn't kill people. He's always like trying his best to make sure that the city is a safe place, despite the fact that the city is in pretty shitty condition. I mean, like, this, like, Gotham is one of the worst neighborhoods you can ever think about. And it's like, believe me, there's some places that we can all consider that's how we feel. Like, I mean, neighborhoods, there are some neighborhoods that we're all like, I could tell a neighborhood that's very similar to that. Um, and so it's like, how can you be like, I can't identify with that. That's the Dark Knight movies. No, of course I can. Of course I can identify with those movies. It's just I just don't understand why somebody would tell me that that movie is the exact same over and over again, especially if they don't do the same thing over again. I mean, they literally the Batman movies have three different Jokers. One I do not consider. I'm sorry. I love Jared Leto is a great actor. However, it was more of like a funky Suicide Squad movie, so I don't really get it. But I mean, Heath Ledger, love you, babe, and Jack Nicholson, right? I think it was. I think so. Um, Amazing, both amazing, but they had two completely different story arcs, despite the fact that they were both playing the Joker. Plus, if you want to get on that, how about this? Um, if you want to talk about villains, we can talk a whole story arc about villains. Villains also have their own show, like the Joker. In fact, if you watch the movie The Joker, I don't remember what that guy's name is because it's very difficult to pronounce, but that movie makes you think about life in a whole different light. It's like you just your mind goes like, maybe sometimes the villain is the right person. Maybe I should be rooting for the villain. And so, like, okay, so obviously this is not a black and white situation. This is not a just hero versus villain equals hero will win, villain will lose, and everybody lives happily ever after. That is not how it works. No, I'm sorry. No, that's not what these movies are. No, I'm sorry. There's a lot more that's going on here. Um, yeah, I mean Superman, of course. I haven't really seen a lot of the other ones. I haven't really kept up with the other ones, but like, yeah, it just blew me away, and I was just so sad, and I was wanting to throw a tangent, but I just was like keeping quiet, and I was like, I'm sorry, superheroes give us hope. Superheroes make us feel like we are connected to them and that we can get through things. And anybody who tells me otherwise is wrong. And I don't care if a movie is going to have a villain and a superhero, and and I don't care if I'm going to know that somebody's going to end up happily ever after, because guess what? Two or three people could die in the middle of that movie. It's happened. I've seen it happen. We've had a lot of people die in the movies. So, yeah, you can't expect everybody to be living happily ever after. It, life's not fair. And those movies do show that. And it's completely shown in those movies. You just don't realize it until you actually look into it. So yeah, I'm just blown away, and I needed to share that. I needed to share that my love I don't lo- Marvel movies aren't something that I have to watch all the time, but I do think that I do have a respect for them, and I have respect for those comics. I have respect for the creators of the comics. I have a respect for graphic novels that are created off of those comics. I respect for all of that. They they've been going for decades. They would not be continuing this if this was not something that was helping people understand and cope with things that have been going through with their daily life. It's just, I'm sorry. It's just, obviously, there's more to this story than just hero plus villain equals one ending. There's just more to it. That is my rant, and I will end it like that. Thank you for listening if you're here. I will see you next time. Goodbye.